Uh, heyrist í mér það? Nei, heyrist í mér? Ok, are we live? Þá þarf ég að defina ykkur á Discord. Jú, ég ætla á maður. Ekki? Hvernig er þið vissir það? Á maður, þetta er svo mikið vesen. Ég veit ekkert hvernig þetta virkar. Halló? Heyrist í mér inn á streamina? Guys, I'm fixing some technical issues. Hello everybody, can everybody hear me? I see everyone here telling me where they're from. And I just say hello back from Iceland. Okay, you can hear me. That's nice. I was having some technical difficulties with this. That was to be expected. But what you're looking at here is, of course, the volcano in Iceland. At its peak now, it seems like, today. But that's, of course, you can see it a lot better in the night, so that's one of the reasons. But we're just gonna wait for more people to join, and then we're gonna get into some questions, but we're gonna wait for more people to join so everyone can hear the answers. So, and I'll look at the chat. You can put questions in the chat. I'll maybe pin them so I can answer them later. If I don't answer them, you can send them again or something if I miss them. And yeah, so I'm gonna go mute for a little bit and try to see if I can fix some more issues, if there are any. But you can just enjoy looking at this for now. I'll be back in maybe 1 minute. And I'm back, guys, and I'm here to be. Everything seems to be fine. I'm pretty sure everything is looking great. No one seems to be too unhappy about it. But I'm just gonna ask a question here. Isn't the video a little bit small for you? Just a question. If it's okay, then I... Okay, so we're just gonna get straight to questions. I think we have a good amount of people here. And I see a lot of you are just, asking about, what type of volcano, and I see some people are asking if it's increasing or anything. Well, this volcano, it's a small fissure volcano. It's not like it doesn't produce ash like we saw in Eyjafjallajökull back in 2010. And it's very funny. It's one of the smallest volcanoes in Iceland to ever erupt, to ever be recorded. It's the smallest volcano recorded in Iceland, so yeah, it's very cute. And it has similar characteristics to the one in Hawaii. I've seen some people comparing it to Hawaii, and it's not far from it. You could compare it to the one in Hawaii because it's a very calm and small volcano, which just produces lava, but it's of course a little bit much smaller than in Hawaii, and it's even smaller than the eruption in Heimaey. An eruption that erupted in a small island in Iceland, Vestmannaeyjar, causing a lot of people to evacuate their homes. And I see questions about the name, and there's a lot of questions. I'm just gonna wanna jump into the one with the name. There are debates on what name we should have. It's of course, you can see up in the right corner, it's in Geldingadalir, which is in Fagradalsfjall. You could say it's in Fagradalsfjall. And I personally would think it would, if you would name it after the area, I think Fagradalsfjall would be more, rewarding, because it's very rare to erupt there in Fagradalsfjall out of all the eruption zones on Reykjanes Peninsula. So I think Fagradalsfjall would be a fitting name, but of course Geldingadalir would also be, since it's in Geldingadalir, but we'll have to wait to see what we'll get. And I also see a lot of questions here about the activity increasing. I want to get to that. We're gonna probably see some fluctuations in the activity throughout the evening. Yeah, after 6,000 years, it hasn't erupted in Fagradalsfjall in 6,000 years, but it has erupted in the areas around Fagradalsfjall on Reykjanesskagi. But it's very rare to erupt here in Fagradalsfjall. But yeah, about the size and the increase, you can see here by looking at this, it's looking a lot more hectic than it was today. You can definitely see that it looks more angry and alive, and it's partly to do with that it's nighttime. You can of course see it much better in nighttime than in broad daylight, but it is true, the activity was slightly down today, and it has increased again here tonight, and it's it looks like it has like this cycle. You could also see yesterday where it increased in activity during the night, whereas before it had been pretty quiet, not quiet, but looked a lot calmer during the day. I haven't heard any explanations to that, or any if there haven't been done any like analyzations or anything on that, but I'll definitely inform you. I have the news here on my side if there's something new pops in. And yeah, I also want to touch on the what type of elements or materials is coming out of this, and that is just very typical Icelandic basalt. Most of volcanoes and everything in Iceland is just basalt, and everything, almost the whole entire surface of Iceland is just basalt, volcanic basalt, and it's very, it's very characteristic here in Iceland. It's pretty much what you walk on. And I'm gonna try to find some more interesting questions in the chat. Just in the meantime, you can ponder the glory. Yeah, I wanna touch on a question I saw here from Sixth Sense Amelia. There were, of course, it was in the news that there was a ancient burial site in the area where the lava was flowing, and when it erupted in this area, a archaeologist decided to try to save it, since the lava was coming too close. But upon arrival, he figured, or he realized after digging or trying to find it, that there was no ancient burials or anything from like the medieval times. No, there was nothing there like they expected, so they didn't have to save anything. That was quite a surprise. And that's kind of funny. I don't know why they thought there was something there, but and why they didn't never looked at it, but apparently there was nothing there. And yeah, I get from Esma, what is the horizontal rate of speed for the lava? It differs a lot, especially when you can see that by the fissure opening where the lava is being spewed out. You can see a lava fall that's going down the crater or the tower, or the and that's of course the fastest moving lava, and it's surprisingly fast, but it's not, it's not like running water, but it is surprisingly fast. You could not outrun it if it were coming towards you from the hill there, but when it's on level ground, it's not very fast. It's maybe moving around. Yeah, it's a day, yeah, in the newer areas, it maybe moves 100 meters a day. But on average maybe 100 meters a day. But just the lava flow, which may be at max not much above 1 meter, 1.5 meter per second. No, half a meter per second. It differs a lot. But in some areas, you can't outrun it when it's in like this lava fall state. That it increases, it picks up speed. So that's why people are being told to, stay out of the area, because it is, again, it probably would surprise a lot of people how fast it can actually flow. And yeah, was the temperature neither from Catherine Littlebir? In the area, it's not. It doesn't emit much heat when you're like around the area. I haven't been there myself, but I expect you can, of course. It's like maybe being, if you're an Icelander, it's like maybe like you're abroad. It's maybe like being in Spain. But of course there's a lot of wind when you are there. You can't be there when there's no wind, because then you would die literally. It would become a death pit because of the gases. But yeah, there's wind, which of course cools the area down. But I've seen people like take off their clothes and but it's not that hot. Maybe at max 15 degrees when you're like just right by the lava. But if you would go where it's being erupted, it would be much hotter. Then you wouldn't cope well there. It would be like too lethal. Like the heat would be lethal, maybe. Yeah. But it's like mild temperature in the area when you're close to the lava flow. And there's more questions here. I'm trying to find good question. I see one here. From Desert Rat. He asks, are they monitoring the volcanic gases in the valley? There have been, and yes, they are. There is a team of scientists that is monitoring the gases. They've monitored the gases in the close proximity to the eruption. They've gone far away and monitored it, like where in for example the capital and the nearby towns. And they, for example, today it was not, the situation was bad there. The gases were like there was a lot of gases there today, and people were nobody was allowed in the area today because of the gases. And they have stuff to monitor it in the area. So if it goes to lethal amounts, like in a situation where there is not much wind in the area, then people are told to stay away, because the gases are the most dangerous part of this eruption, of this volcano. And I get the question here. Are there classical gases, or is there some fluoride gas too? Well, the gases we're dealing with here let me see, it's SO2, and it's just sulfur dioxide gas, which the volcano is emitting, and that's the overwhelming majority of the gases there. If there are any other gases, I am not sure what what they are, but they are not. If they are any, they're so little of them that it hasn't been worth the mention. And I also get here that the blue lights, a question about the blue lights, if you're wondering, that's most likely our coast guards monitoring the area. It could also be people that have snuck upon, from the back or something, but most likely our coast guard, because they are there the whole night monitoring the area to make sure, because today it was closed due to the gas, due to the amount of gas. And yeah, let's check out the latest. It hasn't changed much since we started, but it's, of course, you can see that, it like suddenly flashes and then it doesn't. That's just when because the lava is being spewed out, then it is calm for a little bit, then it's like spewing out the lava. So that's it gets this bright when it's spewing out the lava, and then you can see it falling down there to the right of the crater and into the like the newest lava river. And you can see there to the right, that's the newest lava, and it's moving down. It's like it's filled the whole valley now, and it started to add up. And that's what the scientists were not expecting at first glance when the eruption started. It was expected to maybe last for a few days, but now that it has been since Friday. That's 1, 2, 3. It's around 3 days, 3 whole days, and it hasn't changed. The overall lava flow, the overall visual of the volcano, it hasn't changed much. The only thing that changed from the beginning is that the first fissures opening, most of them closed, and now it's just this one big one there in the middle that we are all watching now. And there's also 2 small ones to the left of it, but they are very insignificant to the main one. And yeah, what is the toast leg? Let's see if there are any more questions here. Yeah, one here from Mats Ottsen Andresen. Hope I got that name right, but he asks here, is it known how much lava is coming out each second? And yes, that's a very interesting topic, because the lava flow is 5 to 10 cubic meters per second. That's what's coming out of the volcano at every second, and that amount has been seen in other volcanoes around the world, other eruptions. And one such eruption, I don't quite remember the country it was from, but it lasted for over almost for 50 years. Let's say that, almost for 50 years. It was 40 something years, and it had the exact same lava flow, or the lava spewage per second, that 5 to 10 cubic meters per second amount. And that is that's a sign we can look to, and in predicting how long this eruption will last. But it's a very rough, what should I say? A very rough, indication or very rough hint on what it will last. But I myself, I think that this will at least last for 2 weeks. At least. But I have a strong feeling it will last longer, and we'll see then we'll see a lot of changes here. Each stream, the lava will add up and eventually fill the valley, and it will be interesting to watch. Trying to find more questions here. I get one here from Robin Marks about the, is it throwing or is it spewing out more lava now than usual? It seems to be like, we saw this yesterday, where in the evening and in the night it suddenly just picks up. Today when I looked at the live stream, there was very little activity compared to this we're seeing now, and it's the same that happened yesterday. And it's visually it looks like it's spewing more lava out at this moment, but it's not much more. It's nothing that's gonna change the characteristics of the volcano or the evolution of it. It's just maybe for this brief window of time, looks like it is increasing in cycles. But we'll, of course, in the next live stream, if it's similar, we can compare that today. I get one here from Kasper von Skrove, if I got that right. And he asks here, is it possible that a new fissure opens somewhere near? And if so, isn't that potentially dangerous for people? And that's a good question, because there is a not a huge possibility or a very likely possibility, but there is a possibility that another fissure will open in the area and very close to it. You can see to the right of the main fissure that there's a very blank dark area, and that's where our experts have warned that another fissure could open. It's in close proximity to the old ones that have closed, and people have been banned for it's like people are recommended not to be there, because there is no the fissure does not tell everyone that it's coming. It just comes when it comes, and that's very dangerous, because if there are people in the area, it could end badly. So it's been restricted, and that's the area where it's most likely to come. But there could also fissures open elsewhere in the area, but that's even more unlikely. But that's it has happened in history. That's what history tells us, because now we're in a era where Reykjaneskai is active. It's very cool to word it like that. Active. It's like it's been activated, and now in the next maybe 300 years, 3 decades, we'll see a lot of seismic activity, a lot of volcanoes, or a lot of eruptions similar to this one. And you can see now there's a lot of activity. Maybe looks like the crater is collapsing or something, but doesn't seem, no. Just a sudden increase in spewage. And yeah, I get look for another question here. I get here from Shadow Panda on the if it flows over the valley or overflows the valley. And that's a very interesting question, because what happens if it overflows the valley? What are there any possible dangers to any civilization, settlements or towns? No, not like, it would not be imminent. It would not be it would not be a concern for the at least for a few more weeks if it would reach the top, because it's in the middle of Fagradalsfjall, which is a very large mountain in area, and it's almost in the middle, and you would have to flow all the way over that, and then down Fagradalsfjall, and then it would have to embark on a new journey to get, it is very far from any settlement, so there is almost no chance it would cause any damage to any infrastructure. So, but if it overflows the valley, that just means that it has lasted for a long time, and we could be looking at a specific type of eruption, which I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce in English. I'll try to find it while I tell you what it is, but it's an eruption that lasts for a long time, and in the same area it doesn't change much, the lava flow doesn't change much, and it's just a very stable volcano that lasts for a long time, as I said in one of my previous videos. And they form like a cone shape out of the lava, because they're active for so much time that the lava adds up and eventually forms this mountain cone shape. And you can probably see from the live stream that suddenly the light just almost got turned off, and that's just the camera. It is nothing with the volcano, but I'm not sure what happened, but it's definitely worse quality now than it was earlier. Yeah, shield volcano. Hardware 77 here with a saves me here. Shield volcano. That could be what this turns, or it could be a shield volcano. And that's a volcano that lasts for a long time, and not most, but there are a lot of mountains formed like that under ice, of course. And there's one great example of a shield volcano which was not formed under ice in Iceland, and that's Skjaldbreiður, which I touched on in one of my videos, which is a 1,060 meter tall mountain formed by a shield volcano, and that is a very tall mountain. And that was a very long lasting, and it was a little bit more powerful eruption than this, but nevertheless very impressive, and that was formed 9,000 years ago, so pretty long time ago. And we're back to the original camera exposure here, revealing a lot more beautiful view, I think, in my opinion. Let's see if there are any more questions. Here from Ice Perry Pink: is this considered an eruption of Fagradalsfjall, or Fagradalsfjall if I say it slowly? That is a debate. It's of course, it is an eruption from Fagradalsfjall. It is. I think they should be seen as connected to Fagradalsfjall. It's a valley in Fagradalsfjall called Geldingadalir, but people are, what the name, should be. And some people want to name it after Geldingadalir, so it would be Geldingagos or something. And other people want to name it after Fagradalsfjall, which is, I think, a little bit more, fair, because Fagradalsfjall hasn't gotten a title in a very long time. I think it should get now. I'm gonna find some more questions, and we're already 35 minutes in to the stream, so, and you can already see probably changes since we started in the lava. but I'm not sure about that. I'm gonna find more questions here. Oh yeah, I get a very interesting question here from Peter Lindblom. Did not the initial Eyjafjallajökull started did the Eyjafjallajökull eruption start calm? No, not the eruption itself. It started with a bang. It was a explosive volcano, explosive ash volcano and it was a very large volcano too, and it was, from the day it started, it was very large, and I got to see it myself with my own eyes, and it's a very weird sight to see the ash plume which was spewed, or which reached, I think, 8 kilometers into the sky, and you could see lightning in the plume, and that was a very powerful eruption, like many people know, because it affected the entirety of Europe. Okay, I'm gonna find more questions here. Yeah. So a lot of you guys talking here together is very fun. And I get here from Mike Mishkolitian Music. I'm 100% sure I pronounced that incorrectly, but you have to forgive me. There is another likely eruption candidate in Iceland this year. Or I think this is a question. Is there another likely eruption candidate in Iceland this year? And there is always Katla. We are expecting Katla to erupt, but probably not this year. There's nothing happening there, but it is time for Katla to erupt, which is one of the biggest volcanoes in Iceland. And it's similar to Eyjafjallajökull, which in a way that it's under a glacier. It's in Mýrdalsjökull, and it is always a huge event when that goes off, because it produces crazy floods that get to the road and destroy the roads, which is very, it's a crazy eruption, and it will probably erupt in our lifetime pretty soon, because it's time. It erupts roughly every 50 years, I think. Last time I think it was in the 1960s, if I'm correct. Not entirely sure of that, but it is time for it to erupt very soon. So yeah, but on the Reykjanesskagi it's now active. We could see a lot of eruptions from Reykjanesskagi, but I want to correct myself here on the Katla. It erupts every 100 years. It's more of a 100-year eruption cycle, and its last eruption was in 1918. Sorry. And so we are waiting on it. That will be a very fun eruption to watch. Gonna find more questions here. And of course, guys, I want to thank you for the support, for the likes while I can here. It's very fun to do streams like this and answer questions live, because I can't, of course, answer all the questions in my videos. So yeah, I'll probably do this regularly. If there are any more major news, I'll probably upload videos. And I get here from Luca. I don't even want to try to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry, Luca, but he asks here, are there any flights cancelled now? And the answer to that is no. Or at least, no, there are no flights cancelled, but there have been, it has been, I think flights are being redirected from the area of the, in the close proximity to the eruption. But it hasn't, it hasn't been a huge, it hasn't maybe, it just has had no effect on the flight industry in Iceland. So that's good. That's an improvement from Eyjafjallajökull. Here from P73, he asks, has the lava been moving fast or slowly? It's been moving slowly, just, like lava, of course, often do in Iceland, but it moves fast when it's going downhill, but on average it moves pretty slowly. You can, on the left side of the screen, you can see actually that the lava is crawling there. You can if you just take a look there in the bottom left of the screen, if you look there closely, you can see the lava is actually moving. And it is, probably a little bit surprising how fast it goes. And I get here from Mike Mixology Music again. He has asked another question before, and he has another very good question on Grímsvötn, which is another eruption or another volcano in Iceland. And yeah, I almost forgot about the Grímsvötn. That is also a very interesting volcano, and it's located almost in the middle of the largest glacier in Europe, and so that is definitely an interesting volcano, and it's a volcano under a glacier, so it produces a lot of ash. So it's one of the larger, like volcanoes in Iceland that, erupt again and again. And the last eruption was not so long ago, in fact. It was back in 2011. And it actually, it erupts, pretty often. It's like it's a very active volcano, and we might see it now in the near future. There are a lot of volcanoes waiting to shed light here in Iceland. Very, very exciting times. And let's see, are there any more very interesting questions? You have a lot of interesting questions. I'm excited to answer more in the next live stream, but because this one is about to end, unfortunately, in 15 minutes. I get here from another, I love to talk about how long this eruption will last, because there's of course a lot of new people arriving, and we discussed that earlier, but it is, it is debated. We can't really tell at this point in time. It's only been erupting for 3 days, but from what we have seen to these last 3 days, there are a few indications that point towards a pretty long lasting eruption, or not we can't say that exactly, right? But I think it will last for at least 2 weeks. But the lava flow of the volcano, which is 5 to 10 cubic meters per second, is similar to an eruption, which I don't remember where it was, in what country, but that eruption lasted for almost 50 years, which was similar to this one, with the same lava flow. So if we if there is something to learn from that, if there's something to compare, if we can, if you can compare that to this, then, we could maybe be seeing a pretty long-lasting eruption. But I don't wanna say any like huge numbers now. I'm just gonna say, at least 2 weeks. That's what it looks like. It's been very stable the last 3 days, so definitely 2 weeks. So we have a lot of time to gather data from this interesting event. All right. So there's another question here from JS Player, which is, does the eruption pose any potential threat to nearby cities or towns? No. No, that's it. It poses, at least for now, no threat. The gases that they don't seem to be reaching Reykjavik or the capital, at least not in any amounts that you would notice it easily. But people are always still reminded that it could happen, and then we would of course be warned. And then you're recommended to stay inside, not because it's lethal or dangerous, but it would just cause, people would not feel great, for some time. But the lava that's coming out of this does not pose any threat to any cities yet, Maybe if it would last for 50 years or 10 years, I don't know where the lava would be then, but it would be exciting to see. But now the lava is in a very isolated valley in Fagradalsfjall called Geldingadalir, and it's just trapped there. But it has already filled the floor of the valley, so it started to build up. So maybe in a few days it will start to venture into other nearby, valleys in the area, but it would take a long time to get out of this area. It's a very closed off area. Here, Mick Laws asks how much spread on either side of the volcano has been measured. It hasn't been officially measured, it hasn't been announced yet or measured, but it is, it is quite a lot, if you look at, it's been only for 3 days. But when it erupted, the first measurements, official measurements, were that it was around 100 meters, across where it was the largest. But now it has definitely increased, and we're maybe looking at a few hundred meters, which is, quite impressive. And it's gonna increase in the next few days, that's for sure. And we're gonna be able to watch it, because there's these awesome live cameras all around. Yeah, also, the discussion on whether it could change or, any drastic sudden changes or in the power of the eruption, or just like steadily a steady increase in the power of the eruption. That would be interesting to see. That is not expected now, but that would definitely be interesting if it would suddenly, get larger and more powerful. That would definitely be for the scientists, that would be very interesting, and probably they would get a lot of data out of that. I'm sure of that. Yeah, I hear from Robin Marks. Have the authorities warned of any steam explosion due to it being in a valley and can hit groundwater? That is a very good question, but the authorities have not said anything about that. They should maybe consider it, but at least it doesn't seem to be a concern to them now, if they haven't said anything. But that's definitely a possibility since it's in a valley, and Iceland is, of course, a very, damp area, damp land. It's always raining, especially in this season we're in now. The weather, for example, today was not very nice at some points. You could probably see it if you were watching the live stream earlier today. Oh yeah, here from Anthony Alari. Yeah, was there a river or a creek in the valley before the eruption? Yep, there was, actually. A small creek. But it's now completely covered and gone forever. It will never be seen again. And that was just a little bottom, like, pool. Not very interesting. But it's gone forever. And there's a question here from Tokoles. He asks, what is the potential of this eruption triggering any of the other volcanic systems in the area? Well, just here to tell you, which is probably a surprise to a lot of people, but there is no specific volcano system in this area, in the entirety of Reykjanesskaði. It comes from deep within in the ground in apparently certain points in history around 800 years when seismic activity increases and the tectonic plates move, making a way for the magma to shoot into the surface or into the crust, and then from there it either digs its way up and gets to this point we're looking at now, or just cools down without reaching the surface. And then another one of that event I was talking about happens, and we're gonna be looking at a lot of these events in the next coming years, because as I have said, Reykjanesskaði is active now. It's very cool to say that is active. It's been activated, and it happens every 800 years to 1000 years according to history. And that's just when it goes crazy and volcanoes pop up, and we will see a lot of this. And the seismic activity, earthquakes, they will also increase, and we'll see maybe a lot of more like these series of earthquakes like we saw before this eruption. Here I get here from Sixth Sense Amelia. He asks that, is there any threat or concern for the hydrothermal energy plant on the peninsula? No, probably not. And the Blue Lagoon will be safe, at least for the time being. But the above another area where volcanoes or eruptions happen often, Svartsengi, and that's an area that would probably in this era we're in erupt soon. Not soon, but at least in the next 300 years. So maybe the Blue Lagoon will be threatened in the next coming years. Who knows? That would be very interesting. I get here from if this eruption continues, here from Ian from Kent asks, if this eruption continues, is there a chance it could still be erupting at the same time as another volcano in Iceland erupts, Grímsvötn being a possible candidate? Yes, that is possible. If it lasts for a long time, it would probably be erupting at the same time as other volcanoes here in Iceland. which are being waited on. There are actually a lot of volcanoes now, that are waiting to see daylight. So it would be a very explosive next couple of years. Here from Adam Animation, does the eruption affect villagers and city? No, not in any way. That would be a future concern. And here Casa Riol, he's a fan since day one, or he's been subscribed since 1999. I thank you a lot for that. And he says he's gonna visit here. I recommend you all, guys, if you can, if you're sometimes free and there's no virus hindering you, to visit this area, because it is very safe, actually, in the right conditions. And plans are not being made to make like a very safe path to the site, so people don't get lost, or like, that has been happening now. People have been getting lost, and it has been quite the problem. But that's gonna be nice when it's been made like visitor friendly. Yeah, here from Ian from Kenti. Yeah, that's a great point. Grímsvötn being under a glacier, that would definitely that is what makes volcanoes a lot more ashy. This one is just coming straight from on the ground, and it's small, and it only emits toxic gases. That's the only like bad emission from it. Any more questions here? Right in the end here, we are approaching the end. I might take a quick sum up of what we have been witnessing here today. Maybe we look at the changes. Maybe play back here and see if there are any visible changes on the volcano or the lava, which if I myself play back, I don't see any visual changes in the lava. Actually, it has moved a lot here in the bottom left corner. You can definitely see a change there. That's the fastest moving part. Alright, I'm gonna try to see any last questions here that I've maybe missed. Wow, it suddenly went black and white. That's very interesting. Yeah. If I missed any questions, I'll probably bring them up in the next live stream. But I think, I'm just gonna sum it up now. What we've been looking at today is the eruption in Iceland. And we've been here for an hour, and the changes you can see in the left-hand corner, that's the only visible changes I think you can see during this live stream. And I've answered questions, and a lot of people have talked together in the chat answering each other's questions, and that's just I think this is very fun to do something like this every evening, maybe, because I think a lot more questions are answered if we do it like this. And you can of course watch this live stream over again if you wanna see the answers to some of the questions. But I just wanna thank you all for the overwhelming recent support, and this has been lovely to have you here on this live stream today. And yeah, I think this was a very successful stream for the most part. I'm gonna, of course, try to work on it and make it even better next time. There was like a little bit of technical difficulties when I started, but that's okay. And yeah, I see you all here thanking me, and I'm gonna thank all of you. That's like you are. This information would have never been shared without you. That's the most important part, and you've been very, very, very generous on the like button here. And yeah, I'll hopefully see most of you again tomorrow. Maybe I'll adjust the time a little bit. We'll just talk about that in the channel's community. I'll definitely post some polls like I did earlier today, so we can find the best times to stream. But I think I'm gonna just end this now, guys. You can now go do something else if you want, or rewatch if there are any people arriving now. The live stream is being finished. It's ending now. If you wanna see some answer to the questions, just play it back, and you can definitely find answers to a lot of questions. But okay, guys, I thank you all for watching, and I'll hope to see you tomorrow. Bye bye.